Hello Fleet, and welcome to another Captain's Academy episode with your instructor Chase. Today's episode is going to give you a quick and easy guide on the basics of aiming. Just remember though, getting really good at aiming still requires quite a bit of practice, but hopefully this will get you off on the right track. The two basic factors you have to know in order to start aiming effectively at a ship is the enemy ship's bearing as well as the enemy ship's speed. Knowing these two things will allow you to calculate where to put your reticule and where to lead your target. So let's take a look at the reticule first. Notice the horizontal red line that I've put there from left to right? Notice how that red line lines up perfectly with the little markers on the reticle? Well, this horizontal line is going to be really important. But of course, let's first answer the other big question, which is, how do I know where to aim in the first place? Well, let's use the enemy ship's bow as the reference point. If the bow is pointed straight at you, then you'll need to shoot in front of the ship in order to hit it. If the bow is heading directly away from you, as in most cases when the enemy ship is running away from you, then you'll need to shoot over the ship in order to hit it. If the bow of the ship is heading straight left or right, then all you have to do is line up that red line and the bottom of that reticle with the ship and pull the trigger. Now if there's a slight angle involved, then you'll need to adjust your reticle just a little bit up and down in order to get it to match the bearing of the enemy ship. Enemy ship speed is what determines how much lead you need to give in order to hit the enemy target. Getting lead distances correctly really involves just experience and practice, but the general rule of thumb is basically the faster the ship, the greater the lead. So if you're trying to shoot destroyers, there would be a lot of lead, followed by cruisers and carriers, and last by battleships. It's best to actually look at some real battles in order to understand these concepts, so let's go ahead and do that. So the very first clip shows the easiest kind of shooting. This is the one where the ship's bow is heading straight left or straight right and presenting its side to you. All you have to do here is lead your target, in this case a cruiser, so I'm giving it a bit of lead, and you put the red line in line with the ship's hull and you pull the trigger and profit. Here's another clip. So in this particular clip, you'll see that I am again aiming for the ship, except this time you'll see that the line is a tiny bit below the hull of the ship. And that's because the ship is actually coming towards me a little bit. So what I've done is I've put the actual reticle a little bit below where the hull of the ship was, because I know that by the time my shells reach there, the ship would have actually moved to where the red line was. And of course you can see, very easy to make a hit. In this next clip, the Omaha is turning. Once again, because the bow of the ship is facing me, I put the reticle below the bow, and also since I know the ship was turning, I put it a little bit to where the ship will be turning to. And there we go, easy hits, and of course, easy kills. The next clip after that is an AOBA, and this AOBA is going to be presenting its side to me, much like the first one. So once again, very simple, line up the line with the hull, open fire, and once again, I'll be getting absolutely massive damage. Another illustration of shooting a ship that's pointing its nose at you and turning a certain direction. Here's an enemy battleship, and once again you'll see that I put my reticle below the bow and a little bit to the left because I'm seeing that the ship is starting to turn that direction. And of course, in a few seconds when my shells get there, it'll hit. There we go, there's some more damage. Well, someone was bound to ask this question. How do you know that you're aiming just a little bit below where the ship is? Well, to do that, you hold down the Alt key. Holding down the Alt key right now in World of Warships gives you ranging data, gives you actually the numbers. So you're able to make very, very precise calculations as to where your reticle should be in relation to the enemy ship. So if you're able to use this data correctly, the Alt key is the guaranteed path to better shooting in World of Warships. You might want to go back to watch the last couple of clips and take a look at seeing the numbers and see how I've used those numbers to make my shots land where I want them to. So in this next clip, that's what you're going to see me do. I'm holding down the Alt key and I'm checking the distance from my ship to the enemy ship, as well as my ship to the place where my reticle is pointing. Once I'm comfortable with the lead as well as the distance to the target, I pull the trigger and land some beautiful hits on that cruiser. The same system applies when you're shooting at targets at long range with a battleship. So here I am trying to line up a shot on the Amagi that's about 18 kilometers away from me. So as you can see, I'm lining up the ranges properly, and when I feel like I've got it enough and I've got it right, I open fire. But of course I'm also in a battleship, so at the end of the day, you could line up shots perfectly like I just did, except RNG at the end decides, nope, I want to screw you over. So what can you do, right? And that's all, folks, for this particular episode of Captain's Academy. Hopefully I've been able to explain the basics behind aiming, and maybe for some of you you've picked up another hint or two to help you improve. Remember, the true path to mastery is playing lots of battles and getting lots of experience. Nevertheless, if you enjoy what I'm doing, don't forget to subscribe as I'm putting up more videos in the upcoming days and weeks. And aside from all that, I hope you all have a fantastic day, and I'm looking forward to seeing you all on the high seas soon.